Good afternoon on the East Coast, good morning on the West Coast, good middle of the night in Asia, and good evening in the UK and Europe. My name is Alain Nu. I'm the man who knows. Welcome to Real Life Stories of the Impossible. We've been talking this week about my encounter with Bigfoot expert Webb Centel. And I have to say, it was probably one of the strangest experiences of my life talking to him, because the way he opened up the concept of Bigfoot is much different than the way most guys that talk about Bigfoot open up that concept. In other words, what he overall, through his experience started to realize is that perhaps the Bigfoot phenomenon is not a missing link phenomenon. It's not a phenomenon that has to do with whether or not they are some aspect of humanity. In other words, they might not even have the same DNA. And that brings up a whole other thing, because it also brings up the concept of whether or not they are dimensional creatures, or they have some kind of, or maybe they come from another planet. And by the way, if you're enjoying these strange discussions that I'm talking about, please subscribe to this channel. Please ring the notification bell so that you know whenever I come on and do this stuff, do this little talk. Please comment below if you have any personal opinions or any thoughts, or if you disagree or agree with anything that I have to say. The truth of the matter is, all I'm trying to do with this channel is just open your mind to sometimes the strangest, to sometimes the weirdest, and yet sometimes perhaps the most inspirationally profound concepts that may actually keep you going throughout the week and keep you thinking about something else rather than the usual stuff. So that's it for me. My name is Alain Nu. I'm the man who knows. We've been talking about Webb Centel. I'm just going to talk about one more thing about him, and that is that his experiences, though you might think of them as conscious experiences, in other words, things that might actually be happening inside of his head, there are results that manifest in physical reality. So, for instance, he has managed to take a few photographs, and he calls them blob squatches, because they aren't exactly clear photographs, but they are actually photographs. If you go to his website, you'll actually see these interesting photographs of strange things. He also notices the area that the Sasquatch actually somehow inhabits within the forest. So as I said yesterday, he goes off into the forest. He walks like 1 to 3 miles into the forest, and then meditates in a certain place. But it's not just any place. First, he actually finds these strange branches that are sort of in like 3 branches that are kind of brought together in like the shape of a pyramid. He's taken a few pictures of those. Very strange. Now, the fact is that, if he was a really good hoaxer, he could have done it himself. But this is what he says. He says that he finds these strange, like pyramid-shaped, branches that are kind of stood up on into like these shapes. And then beyond that, usually he finds like a crazy wall of brush. And usually it's like 10 feet thick. And he has to cut his way through this giant wall before he reaches the other side that is, potentially the campground for these, for these Bigfoots. And so he then meditates, and he tries to send out a message of peacefulness. He tries to send out a message that he's not there to harm them. He doesn't have any weapons or anything like that on him. He's literally trying to send out a conscious message that it's okay to interact with him, and that he's there to just pay respects to them. And then that's when he says that he can start to hear them approaching him while blindfolded in the dark. And then he can start to hear them, he can start to feel their presence around him. And sometimes they reach out and they touch him. And that is totally crazy. What would you do if you were, well, first of all, would you ever go off into the national forest at midnight and then wander off miles into a darkened forest and blindfold yourself in order to try to interact with strange, potentially dimensional creatures? Comment below if you like this story. We're going to talk about this a little bit more tomorrow, about some of his findings, some of his actual interactions with this creature. So it's not just a mind thing. It's not just in your imagination. Somehow it manifests in reality. We're going to talk about that tomorrow on Real Life Stories of the Impossible. Hope you enjoyed my little talk today about my good friend Webb Centel. And you can follow him. I'm sure he can post some of his website findings and stuff like that on the comments below. My good friend John Alexander, Colonel John Alexander, in Las Vegas, who also studies strange phenomenon as well as shamanic tribes, actually did go out with him and experienced a very, very strange situation in which something charged at their campsite in the middle of the night, screaming really loudly. Very, very interesting. Anyway, enjoy today. Enjoy the rest of the week, and we'll see you tomorrow. Same time, 11:30 a.m. Pacific time, 2:30 p.m. Eastern time. Please subscribe to this page if you haven't already. Please share it with a friend and tell them what an interesting conversation we've been having here. This is just, again, to open your mind to strange and unusual things in order to have a greater appreciation about the expansive life that we're living today. Hey, have a good time. Talk to you soon.